Let's make a shaker door because why not? Welcome back and thanks again for watching. As a reminder, I will be doing tool review videos as well as the Fusion 360 builds that I do for my leatherworking and woodworking. And for this particular build, we will be doing a shaker door is what I call it. I'm actually going to be using these drawings for my own personal house, which was built in the 50s, and I want to go through and replace all of the flush wood doors and install these nicer upgraded type doors. And if you were to go to, say, your local big box store, these doors would probably for like a 3070 or I guess a 68 in residential, you're probably going to be paying around $250 to $350 or more for a door like this. And this door would probably cost, for a 3-foot by 6'8" door built on your own at the house, if you have the tools, it would probably cost around 80 to 100 tops to build, based on my calculations in the current market. But anyway, that's what we're doing here. And what I've done so far is design the first stile. Now, I will be doing parametric modeling on this one, and the reason is because I want to use these drawings for an accurate takeoff to do all of the doors in my house. So, for instance, at the end of this build, I will be able to show you using the perimeters that I built, how I can take a 3-foot wide door and make it, say, a 2'4" or a 16-inch door for like a utility closet or something. Or you could make it, 60 inches wide. I'm not as concerned, obviously, as the height, because in this case, all of the heights will be the same in my home. So the parametric modeling on this project was built around the width. So anytime I change the stile, what I'm calling width, as you see here, it will change the overall width of the door because everything's going to be tied together. So that is why I am doing it the way I'm doing it on this video. For instance, I am extruding the rails. They're going to be extruded to object, and the object will be the opposite side, the stile. That way, when I do change the stile widths, I will have both stiles following in line to make the door the correct size without having to go back and change individual lengths and widths. I'll have to change one dimension, and it will change the size of the door in its entirety as far as the width goes. Now, I will say, as a side note, a big side note at that, the rails and the stiles, for that matter, are not showing the mortise and tendon joints. Now, I'm just assuming, and for me, I'm not going to need it because I know what I need to cut. But if you were making in this case, a 36-inch wide door, which, by the way, is actually 35 3/4 because I'm shaving off 1/8 of an inch on both sides in order for the door to shut. You're not going to want to make a door that's 36 inches wide for a 36-inch opening because it's just not going to work. And these edges of the stile, I'm not showing on this particular build, but they will need to be slightly beveled at an angle in order to shut as well. Because, for instance, this 36-inch wide opening I have in a closet in my house, I am shortening the width to 35 3/4. Now, that's actually only 35 3/4 on what's called the long side, which is the side you see. If you were to open a closet door on the inside of the door, that would be the short side. So actually, if you were to pull a measurement on the long side of the door, it's going to be 35 3/4 in my case. And on the inside, it's going to be smaller than that because it's going to be beveled in to help close easier for that. And also, I am doing an 80-inch overall, which is pretty standard for residential doors on the height. Typically, I would cut these down at least a 1/2 inch on the undercut at the bottom, maybe 3/4 inch. And the good thing is since you're doing a Stile and Rail door with solid wood, you have plenty of room to do undercuts based on the conditions of your floor. So anyway, moving on the video here, we do have plywood going in for the panels. Now the panels, I'm using 1/2 inch plywood as you're going to see here. And again, you're going to want to cut these stiles and rails to accommodate the plywood to be slid in to give you the panels. So I'm not showing that, I'm just simply showing the panels, the stiles, and the rails so I get a good idea on the blueprints that I will print out later for the actual material that I need to make X amount of doors. I think in my case it's like 12 or 15 doors. I'm simply doing this to get a good rough estimate of what I need for material. Some of this will change for you if you were to go to my website, Josh James Design, and download the drawings. You're going to want to adjust accordingly for the cuts you need for the mortise and tendons. In other words, the top rail, I think I have it at like 26 or 25 3/4. You need to add, or I would be adding, in my case, I would add probably about 1 inch on both sides of that rail to give me the tendon on both sides to slide into the stiles. So it's something to keep in mind. The measurements that you see, if you were to print these drawings, you may think you're going to be cutting these exactly as shown, but you really need to account for the inch on both sides of the rails to have your tendons. And it's really nice if you have a dado stack for your table saw. I do not have that, so this particular project is going to take me a little bit longer unless I use the routing table. I haven't decided yet. But also these stiles, except for the bottom the bottom rail, which is 5.5, the other two are 4.5, as well as the stiles. Now, I'm using 2x6s, but I'm cutting them down to 4.5. So by the time you joint and plane, these pieces, you're going to get pretty close to the 4.5 if you're wanting to get that squared look. So by the time I cut both sides on a 2x6 that's as straight as possible that I can find, by the way, at a big box store, I'm going to just get these down to an even 4.5 on all of them, with the exception of the bottom one. So, and that can be changed, obviously, if you want to make it smaller, wider, whatever you want to do, you can always change that. And I did in the parameters as well as you see, I did the width of the stiles and rails, so those can be changed as well if you want to go to a smaller or larger rail. But anyway, that is how I would be building these doors. And I would also be pocket screwing where needed as well, just to fully support and make this solid structure throughout. All right, and there you have it. The colors look a little ridiculous for most people, but again, it's for a YouTube channel, so it sticks out a little bit more. But you can add any kind of color that you want, and remember to go in and change the not only the appearance, but more importantly, you're going to want to change the actual material, because it does default in this design, or when you're doing the sheet metal like I use, to a metal. So you don't want to have the blueprints print out and show that you need to buy a bunch of metal. So anyway, hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more of these videos for how I design things and also some tool reviews. Thanks again.